Hey guys, so welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about whose problem is it anyway. Before I get started, as usual, please, if you get something from this, give me a thumbs up, a heart, a like, comment, subscribe for more content like this, and if you feel moved to do so, come check out Patreon and you can help support me for as little as $1 a month. It does add up. All right, so whose problem is it anyway? This is a huge concept that if you can understand it and grasp it fully, it will really change your life. It will change the way that you interact with others. And it's a very important core spiritual principle from my perspective. So when we have a problem, it's very important to understand that it's our problem. Now, the way that we tend to think, the ego, you could say, the way it tends to think, is that if I'm upset, it's someone else's problem. It's someone else's doing. Someone else needs to change their beliefs. They need to change their actions. They need to change whatever because I'm upset. So they need to change to please me. This goes beyond just people. We may even feel like the planet needs to be different. Right? If I'm making a lot of money from polluting the planet, whatever it is, then I might think that it's not my problem, that that's the way it is, that things should be different than they are. So, spiritually speaking, when I have a problem, it's my problem. Okay? When someone else has a problem, it's their problem. So, other people often in life come to us and they tell us, you know what, you're not very considerate, or you should have done this, or you should have done that. Well, if they're the one upset, honestly, it's their problem, it's not our problem. If we didn't have any malintent, if we weren't trying to harm them, if we weren't trying to be evil, doesn't mean we can't change our behavior, doesn't mean that we don't occasionally make mistakes. We don't want to step on people's toes. We want to come from a place of loving compassion, of understanding. If I know that something I'm doing is upsetting somebody else and it is possible for me to stop doing that, then I will. Or to change something about the way I'm doing things, I will, no problem. But sometimes we find that people tell us that we're doing things that upset them, and it really fundamentally cuts into really who we are and what we, how we express our love as spiritual beings in this world. And there is nobody that you are really here to please. There's no one's approval that you have to get, even your guru or teacher or anybody. You really have a responsibility to yourself to find peace, love, and joy within yourself, regardless of circumstances and regardless of your actions. So, if we pay attention, we find that there are many people who tell us what we should be doing, right? To be better people, I should be donating to this organization, I should be volunteering here, I should be eating this food. There are plenty of people all around us, our family, our friends, our spiritual leaders will tell us what we should and shouldn't be doing and what we need to do. But the truth is what we really need to look at is inside of ourselves. So again, am I finding the peace, love, and joy that is within me? And this can be done through yogic and spiritual practices. We can find an unending wellspring of love and peace and joy that is never ending. We don't need to find those things from other people. And when we find this, we begin to understand that it's not other people's responsibility to make us happy, to please us, to do what we want them to do. Likewise, it's not our responsibility to do those things. Now, of course, we never want to intentionally harm others, but this becomes very sticky very quickly in modern life. There's a great show that a student of mine turned me on to called The Good Place. And in this show, it's a very funny show, first of all, but in this show, they explore how in modern life, it's almost impossible to be truly virtuous. Everything that we buy, everywhere we go, everything we do, starting up our automobile, could be seen as a sinful act. We are polluting this absolutely beautiful planet that we live on. Even me purchasing this camera to share this talk with you created all kinds of, noxious fumes and all kinds of problems. But as I said in another talk, we can focus on the bad, we can focus on the good. This really is up to us. And it's not about ignoring problems. I need to be very clear about that, because sometimes people think that I'm advocating for just plugging your ears or putting your head in the sand and trying to ignore what we see as problems. That's not the case. But the best way to address the problems in the world today is with compassion, love, and understanding, not a righteous indignation. Okay? So again, in the past, I think we've tried it. We've had thousands of years of righteous indignation and people telling us what we need to do to be righteous and what we need to do to please God and what we need to do to be ethical and moral. And I think it's time that we begin to find the compass that is within each of us. So again, if I'm upset, that is my problem to deal with. And again, with what I teach and what I've learned from yoga and spirituality, there are tools that we can use very effectively to help us process these feelings. And so we can let others off the hook instead of constantly trying to arrange things in our life so that others are pleasing us and others are not doing things that will trigger us. Because the world really doesn't care. It really doesn't. And I'm not trying to be mean. There are people around us who love us and care for us, and if we try and guilt and shame them, they may alter their behavior to please us, to not trigger us. But now we aren't really loving them anymore. And this is a whole nother topic for another subject for another video. When I'm trying to change you, I'm not really loving you. Okay? Even if I think I'm changing you for your own good, I'm not really loving you, because loving is seeing somebody or something clearly as they are, not as I want them to be. Because at the end of the day, who's to say that I know how things should be? And that goes for this teaching as well. Nothing I share is a you should wagging my finger at you. These are things that I've found in my own life and from the spiritual teachings that I follow that I find very valuable. And so I share them with you in the hopes that you will find them valuable too. And as I've mentioned many times before, these are all practices. These are ideas that you can take and begin to implement in your day-to-day life, moment by moment. Spirituality is always about this moment, right now. These are not practices that we need to wait until we go on retreat, or we need to wait for next week, or when we're at work, or the next time our children upset us. These are practices that we can implement moment by moment. So you can ask yourself in this moment, what is my problem? What problems do I truly have in this moment? And if I say, well, I don't have enough money in the bank, is that really true? Is there a roof over your head? Is there food on your table? Maybe you would like more money than you have. But we can only ever have the money that we have. We can't have more than that or less than that. So we always have the amount of money that we have. Sometimes it's enough to pay our bills, and maybe sometimes it isn't. Either way, it's the amount of money that we have. Is it really a problem? Well, that depends on how we define or see a problem. Maybe because I don't have enough money, I am forced to move in with my parents. maybe there's a very valuable lesson that I need to learn and that they need to learn through that process of me moving back in with my parents. Okay? So spirituality is about the big picture. And I'll give you a hint, your ego is never seeing the big picture. It's seeing a very limited window of what it is selecting. And it specifically selects to see things that cause you a feeling of separation and suffering. So if you choose to see things the way the ego sees things, and again, the ego sees the problem out there. The problem is the other. Other people need to respect me. They need to love me. They need to treat me in a specific way. They need to stop doing this. They need to stop doing that. Okay? Again, if I'm upset, it's my problem. And the only real solution, because you're not going to arrange the whole world in a way so that you approve of everything everyone's doing. The only real, lasting, spiritual solution is to change yourself, your heart and your mind, to change your perspective. This is what spiritual practices do, from yoga postures to pranayams, to darshan, to scriptures, to all of it, meditation. All of it is about changing your perspective so you can live in harmony with the rest of existence. Because the rest of existence is moving on with or without you. So you can choose. Do you want your problems, because they are your problems, the things that upset you are your problems, do you want them to cause you to suffer the rest of your life? Or do you want to get on board with the program that the rest of the universe has? Letting go and working through your problems so that you can live a life problem-free. Doesn't mean you don't have challenges. Challenges are part of what makes life interesting. I promise you, you don't want to live a life without challenge. All human existence has challenges. Jesus had challenges. The Buddha had challenges. Challenges will not go away. This is a part of human existence, and it's a beautiful part of human existence. But suffering, problems, these things we can eliminate, and we want to eliminate, so that we can fully appreciate the gift of this life that we have. All right, everyone, I hope you found that helpful. If you did, again, there are things you can do to help me out, from liking, subscribing, commenting, to even donating, and all the links are down in the description below. Thank you so much for listening. Namaste.